John, there's been a flurry of atheistic books, lectures, commentaries in the last few years that have become, shall we say, more aggressive, more enthusiastic in stating that not only is there no God, but that it is very good for the world to come to that conclusion to eliminate religion. First of all, how do you see this new atheism?
Well, I see it as being relentlessly polemical. It really is not, I think, engaging with the issues. It's strong on assertion, it's strong on trying to create an image of religion without respect either to religious practice or religious thinking in any serious way. For example, The God Delusion is an extraordinary book. I haven't read a serious review of it. It hasn't said this book has serious defects. And the principal defect is that it's strong on assertion and very weak on argument. There are arguments in support of theological belief in the existence of God. I can understand that people don't necessarily find those arguments convincing, but they don't answer them by neglecting them, pretending that they're not there. They don't answer them by unfair polemical techniques. For example, Dawkins devotes a great deal of space in The God Delusion to talking about the terrible things that religious people have done. Crusades, inquisitions, and of course that's part of the story, and we should acknowledge that, be penitent and regretful for it. But then to take Hitler and Stalin and Pol Pot and just dismiss them on a couple of pages is not really relevant to the issue, it seems to me just dishonest. What we're seeing in these terrible events is the flaw in human nature rather than a necessary flaw in religious people. I think that's just unfair and dishonest.
I think we can divide their arguments into two categories. The first category, as you've said, is a demonstration that the history of religion has been significantly detrimental for human existence, that its deficits are far more than its benefits, and that indeed huge numbers of people have suffered because of religion. That is not a philosophical argument. It's an argument based upon results. Assuming that even to be true, what would be the significance of that?
Well, if it were true, we have to take that very seriously. I don't think that has been demonstrated. Of course, as I say, religion has done terrible things. Religion has also done a great many things of the greatest benefit. It's been the source of a great deal of art. The original universities and hospitals came out of religious settings and so on. All these things are discounted by the new atheists, not taken seriously, in my view.
Well, my question is a different one. My question is, so what? What follows from either one of those? A lot of good hospitals and art have been developed from a lot of other ways, and a lot of people have been hurt from other things other than religion. Yeah. So what difference does it make? Is that any demonstration of what the ultimate reality is if religion has done these good things or these bad things? Is it relevant at all in any way?
Well, I think the mixed economy of human achievement in this sort of way simply shows us there is something has gone wrong with human nature. There is a slantedness in human nature, the sort of thing that turns a country's liberator into its next tyrant, and so on and so on. And that's something that we need to take seriously and to recognize. And the religious diagnosis of that is is what is called sin, and sin essentially is refusal to accept that we are creatures, to believe that we can do it our way, that we don't need the grace of God to help us in trying to do what is right. And I think that is actually a serious mistake to make.
Second approach is a scientific one, and that says that by adding the necessity of God, you're creating a God of the gaps, that it's a pessimistic view of science, that science certainly cannot answer all the questions, but it has been progressing more and more and more, and ultimately will be able to answer all the questions of any significance about existence.
Well, I think it's totally absurd and unjustified to think that science really can answer every serious question about existence. Science has purchased its very great success, and of course as a scientist I want to take it absolutely seriously, purchased its very great success by the modesty of its ambition. Essentially, it only asks one question about the world, the question of process, the question of how things happen. And it brackets out questions of meaning and value and purpose. But those are questions that we know are meaningful and are necessary to ask. And I think it is absurd to think. Science describes a lunar landscape. populated by people who are seen simply as replicating information processing systems. There are no real persons in that bleak and arid world. And nobody, new atheist or whatever, lives their lives as if that was true.
Well, the argument is it's value, morality, that science can't do that. Some scientists say that maybe with understanding how the brain works and a neuromorality or neurotheology, you can see brain states so that you can be able to assert things about proper morality. But most people say no. But that's a construct. That's a human construct. And we shouldn't have to look to some supernatural thing for that, because it's something that comes out of human beings, and it's not something here or there.
I don't think morality is a human construct in the sense of being an arbitrary construct. I think we have genuine ethical knowledge. I think my conviction that torturing children is wrong is not some disguised genetic survival strategy, nor a convention of my society. It's a fact about the world. And I think that science does not explain where that fact comes from. As I say, it has limited its scope precisely by not seeking to ask that sort of question. One of the physicists I knew a bit was Wolfgang Pauli, a man with a very acerbic tongue, and he used to wag his finger at people and say, "No credits for the future." In other words, don't claim that my theory is a bit shaky today, but tomorrow it'll explain everything. And I would say that to the people who say that science is, in the end, giving us the only knowledge we can have. That seems to me just totally absurd.